Hey cutie. Welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. It's another Favorites Friday video. I have really been loving, dare I say these might be my favorite types of videos to film anymore, are the ones that I'm talking about things that I genuinely enjoy. And I'm excited. I hope it shows through for you. I'm excited about this video. This is with no rhyme or reason. I don't have like a list of criteria. I kind of picked palettes that I consider some of my favorite, and as I'm kind of looking at them, and I like them all for very different reasons, and I'm really excited to share them with you. So again, this is no rhyme or reason. It's not in a number 5 to number 1. I just have 5 palettes that I genuinely love in my collection, and I just want to talk about them with you guys. I hope that this kind of video excites you. I hope that you're interested in something like this. I know it's very off kilter for what I normally do, which is a lot of Project Pan, low-buy type things. If that interests you, I'd love it if you subscribe so you can be a cutie too. Okay, so again, I have no rhyme or reason. I just have these palettes technically in smallest to largest in size of the palette, not necessarily pan quantity. The first one is both the smallest in palette size and also the smallest in pan quantity. That just happens to be the case in this one. But one of my favorite palettes in my collection, as I kind of go through my palettes, one of the standout palettes that I'm just yeah, I always really enjoy when I reach into it, is the Kaleidos Futurism 7 Sashimi City. This was a gift from Haley, which I miss you so much, Haley. If you ever look at these videos, I do miss you. Anyway, this is the Sashimi City palette, and oops, I forgot I took a shade out because I'm so close to 10 uses in it. This is the Sashimi City palette. It is a really beautiful 6-pan eyeshadow palette. It's kind of like the tale of two color stories within this palette, but both are very, very neutral, everyday kind of color stories. You have this pinkier little trio here with 2 more rosy toned matte shades, which, albeit the 2 browns are very, very similar, they do have slightly different undertones to them. The soy sauce over here is definitely more pink, salmony toned, and then Promenade over here is definitely more yellow based. But the pink ginger shade right here is one of my absolute favorite types of shades anymore. I didn't enjoy it when I had this palette out using it in its entirety as much, but I do love that shade. I've grown a very big fondness of these translucent gold bases with the pink shift. I think they're absolutely stunning. And then pink ginger over here has a pan because I truly love this shade so much. And this little trio is almost more of a yellow toned everyday kind of look. So if you're wearing a little bit more warm tones, you go one way, a little cooler tones, you go the other way. But this is just such a nice palette, and I need to reach into this more. It's the palette size that throws me off for this, so I don't reach into it in its entirety, but whenever I do, I really enjoy it. This is a great travel palette because it is so sleek and compact, and you can really just chuck it in a bag and go on your way. And I also feel like there's enough packaging to kind of shield it and shelter it from bouncing around in a bag. So I really do like that palette. I think it's really beautiful. I wish Kaleidos would bring back the Futurism palettes, or I've just not been super interested in their releases lately. You would have just heard me talk about this next palette in yesterday's video, which was the Friendsgiving Tag from Dub's Beauty Diary. So I don't want to harp on this too much. But this is kind of a seasonal favorite at the moment. This is the Nabla Dreamy 2. This is just such a beautiful color story, and I did remove one shade and repress this second shade into it. Also, yes, I know I need to redo my nails. That's next on the list today. But I did repress Glass Bowl because I thought it made the color story much more cohesive for this palette. This was something I bought for my to gift myself for my birthday. Does anyone else gift themselves something? I bought myself a Christmas present this year. Did you guys buy yourself a Christmas present? I bought the Ninja Creamy. Very irrelevant. Does anyone buy themselves a present for certain occasions? I definitely am my own gift giver. Sometimes Santa knows best. So I am really excited about this. I love this palette. I'm wearing it today on my eyes. You'll actually have seen me watch me create this whole look in yesterday's video, but I love this palette. This is so stunning. I definitely have flirted with the idea of trying to pan this at some point, but I am not sure I'm quite there yet. If I did, it would be a very like back burner project, kind of like I've been watching Gabriella Francis do Pan That Palette in Order. I feel like that would be a good contender with this. I could even go down, since technically we have pan in these two shades. I can just keep going down columns rather than across to keep the order, because I did technically hit this first and this second. That might be fun, actually. Let me know if you'd like to see it Pan That Palette in Order. Also, this palette I feel like is just a color story that also looks just so good on me too. So I can wear it, like these are the, like I really like wearing warmer toned clothes like this. I don't seldom reach into like, I look at my closet and it's mostly autumn tones. I definitely like warmer tones, earthy tones. That's like the kind of colors I prefer. I think it goes well with my natural hair color, my skin tone, that kind of thing. So I have very few clothes that are more of the cool tone variety. So something like this is very seldom used, but I do love that shade. It's just so pretty, Mirabella. It's a really pretty shade. I love shades like this in palettes so much. I just love this color story. There is that. Moving on to palettes that I just genuinely love, and there's no reason other than every time I put this on, I feel my prettiest. Like I feel the most put together. I feel the most glamorous. I feel just beautiful that day. And that might be a little vain to say, but there's something about when you feel good about yourself, you just feel good through and through. And that's what this palette makes me feel. And it's the Natasha Denona Retro palette. And this is just I was not going to get this, and I am so happy I ended up purchasing this and bringing it into my collection, because every single time I put this on my eyes, I think I look just so nice, put together, professional. I just love it. I just really, really genuinely enjoy this palette so much. I think the tone of like the mauvier shades, the slightly cooler shades are beautiful. I love the more purple shades, and I'm not even a purple girly, and I love these shades. It's kind of like the cranberry that's on the outer corner. That's kind of what this palette gives. And then just the shimmers in it are so pretty. So again, I just love this because every time I wear it, I feel good about myself, and that's reason enough for me to really love a palette, in honesty. Why else would you want to wear a palette? Like that's a great reason to want to have a favorite palette. You just feel great when you wear it. Like, heck yes, I love that. Let me know a palette that you feel great in when you wear it. Do you have like a staple? Are you someone that wears a bunch of different palettes, or just like one palette? Let me know your go-to that makes you feel the best of you. Okay, I didn't plan all the rest of the palettes to be more expensive palettes, but they end up being expensive palettes. The Natasha Denona Retro palette, albeit I did use all Ulta points to purchase that, so I didn't feel like I was spending my own money. I know maybe I should, but I don't. And then this palette I actually got for half off. And then the next one I got for a Black Friday discount. I ended up getting the Natasha Denona Safari palette when it was half off, when they were discontinuing this. And this just genuinely is one of my absolute favorite palettes. Let me put the other shade. This shade is close to 10 uses also, and I'm just trying to kind of get there. But this palette is just such a beautiful staple palette. It's something that I love grabbing shades out of to just put into looks. And actually, Amara is in the Retro palette, this one that just makes me look pretty. It's in this palette too, so I'm doubled down on Amara in my collection, which I'm not mad at, so maybe eventually I'll need to pan one of those. But I just love this palette. I think this just goes with everything because it's just mattes. You can incorporate any other item in your collection with this. This actually would be so good to use with my Dazzle sticks from Kat Von D, or KVD Vegan Beauty now. So this would be really nice with it because I could get a couple different color stories and then incorporate those. I might have to try that. Maybe the dragon fruit would be a good one to pair with this because that's all shimmer. I need to pair this more often and just reach for this. I have been leaving this kind of out in my everyday makeup drawer where my Shop My Stash is, just to grab shades out of it and incorporate it into looks. But this is such a beautiful palette. I'm super worried my camera's gonna die. But we're gonna try to get through this. The next palette is something I pined after for years. It's something that I wanted in my collection. I was like, I don't understand how people can afford those palettes. It's one of the Natasha Denona's very large 28 pan palettes, which I believe retail for $240 normally. I bought mine on Black Friday. It was buy one, get one free, essentially. So I got a 2-pack for the same price as one. I only have the green brown palette left in my collection. The purple blue wasn't for me. I wish I would have gifted it away sooner than when I did. But this is the green brown palette, and this one still performs beautifully. The purple blue just, I don't know what was going on with the formula in that one, but that one never really worked out for me. The green brown palette, however, is such a beautiful palette. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection, and it was so expensive. I hope it's one of my favorite palettes. I have pan in some shades that I'm intimidated by because they were in a Fantasy Self project pan that I did a couple years ago. But anytime I reach into this, I predominantly reach into the everyday shades within this palette, and then I'll sprinkle in some of like the minty goodness or the greens or this is one of my favorite shades in the palette. But this is such a beautiful palette. I absolutely love this. I don't know if I will ever be able to declutter this out of my collection. If it ever goes off, I think it might just be set up as a visual piece. Like, I don't know how I can do it. Maybe put it in a shadow box. I'm like looking at my shelves that I have in here. Do something with it, because this palette is just too good, and looking at it just brings me so much joy. Putting it on my eyes, it's a whole nother level. This palette is really, I think, one of the best shimmer metallic formulas that aren't like a flaky formula by Natasha Denona anymore. Her shimmers and metallics in this format for just like a normal shimmer, normal metallic. So beautiful, so beautiful. Some of the newer palettes that have a similar formula are not as good as this. In all fairness, like the Zendo palette, I don't think the shimmers are nearly as good as this one. But I would love to know some of your favorite palettes in your collection. Do you have them for certain reasons? Maybe it's because it's the smallest one and it's just like the best one because of the size. Is it because it's the time of year for it? Is it a staple in your collection? Do you just feel good when you reach for it? Let me know. I would love to know in the comments below. But my battery is about to die, and I am lucky I made it this far. So I will catch you guys in the next video. I hope you guys are staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.